First question comes from a basic building question, basic business building. And this one student of mine was kind of struggling with the whole idea of, I just don't have enough time. And I talk about it on my podcast, The Thriving Solopreneur. And I actually used to send out cards with this with my students of, no, no, no. It is very important that you realize you do not need more time. We are all given the same 24 hours in a day. What you need is planning. You need to start planning better. You need to have a very strong vision of what you want to go to, goals that you're going to change. And then we start doing the My Perfect Week, and then we do weekly reviews. And so this is the way that I used to and still mentor my students. And that is, you need planning. And if you don't know what you are targeting, if you are not so clear, crystal clear on your goal. Now, we hear about all of the habits of the rich and famous. We hear about how men like Musk and Bezos and others, how they are very single-minded and very pointed in their goal setting. And they are so set on their goals and so into their targets that they actually are asking themselves every moment as they're doing different activities, is this leading me closer to my goal, or is this leading me away from my goal? Now, that has a tendency to make you feel like, oh my gosh, if I'm not working, I'm not doing anything productive. Whoa, 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 whoa. These people know how to relax. They know how to downshift, and they will actually find ways to do that. Spend time with family, friends. These are things that are priorities. And we talk about that in My Perfect Week. So I will discuss this in greater detail for Open Friday Coffee if you have questions. But my student knows where to go in the online course so that you can get the templates for building out your perfect week and how to do your weekly review. So once you have your vision on what type of life you're building for yourself, how to live your perfect life now. And by the way, perfect is a joke. Nothing is ever perfect. That's the little joke I have with my students and I. Remember when we talked about our perfect week? And everybody would be like, yes. And we all know my week is perfect Sunday mornings at 6 to 7 a.m. because on Sunday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., I'm sitting down with my calendar and I'm building out my perfect week. As soon as the first kid would wake up and talk to me, it would destroy the plan. However, I had structure in place so that we could work on those workflows. Now, there is a challenge that is very specific, and they even mention it in The Matrix, one of my favorite movies. They mention it in The Matrix, and that problem that comes up is choice. This is where self-doubt will try to creep in. Am I making the right choice? Am I working on the right thing? Am I doing it on the right time? Now, how do you supersede that? It's very simple. You have a workflow. Now, this is something that I learned very quickly in the emergency room. If somebody walked in, are they walking? Are they breathing? Are they acting normal? Okay, so are you hemorrhaging? Are you breathing? I mean, this is just basic triage. I mean, anybody who's done anything medical will do this and knows this. And if you've had military service, you also know about these type of workflows. They do not want you thinking. They train you and train you and train you so you no longer are thinking. Why? To remove the element of choice. Because if you remove the element of choice, then you will not then you will react and move in a very efficient and streamlined situation. So let's talk about something else you probably have seen most of your life, and that is the Eisenhower decision matrix. Oh, and by the way, what was Eisenhower before he became president? He was a general. Do you think that maybe where this came from was his military training to make sure that you didn't make decisions that were less efficient? So this is the Eisenhower decision matrix, and it was borrowed by none other than Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey uses it frequently in his time management systems. You know, the mayonnaise jar, and you put the rocks in first, and then the sand, and then eventually water. And it's like, if you don't make sure that you're doing the important and big things first, whoops, sorry about that. If you're not making sure that you got your big rocks in first, then you won't have time for other things. Well, that's part of the planning stages. This, the Eisenhower decision matrix, is what helps you when new stuff comes in. Like you pick up the phone, you're on a phone call, and you have to decide where in your decision matrix is that activity going to go. So if you do follow-up in systems like that, where is that going to go in your week? Or is it something that's important and urgent and I have to do it now? Or did it fall into the time of it's important, but it's not urgent? That's where I bring in my calendar. The important but not urgent goes into my calendar. And that's why I tease people all the time. They say, "Oh, you're self employed." Yeah, well, my calendar is my boss. Like what happens on my calendar is what I do. And so a lot of times people will be like, "Well, I don't want to inconvenience you, Janine. I don't want to get messed up what you got going on." It's like, no, I have spots in my calendar for things that are important but not urgent that I know will come into my life. And it allows me a lot of flexibility. The other thing is you have the urgent, but it's not important. I'm always asking, and that's where you hear this who, not how. Who, not how. Like, how am I going to do this? If I ever catch myself saying that when I look at my calendar, it's like, okay, who can do this for me? And if I don't have somebody that's currently a part of my 12-person team that I can delegate this to, then I am working my butt off to make sure that I hire somebody lickety split. Hey, does somebody have somebody that they really trust? Blah, blah, blah. I need somebody that can XYZ by deadline, right? Last is delete or eliminate it. Gosh, there is so much that I delete out of my life. When they came up with that word cancel culture, and I know it means something differently, I'm like, I've been practicing that my whole life, but it's for my own things. It's like there is so much in my culture, in my internal landscape decision making that I cancel or delete. And that's why people say, you remember when we were talking about blah, 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 blah. And I'm very upfront. Nope, deleted it. I need space in my brain for other things. And then, of course, because that's not always socially acceptable, I would say things like, I'm having a mommy moment or something like that. Can you help refresh my memory? So please remember this when new stuff comes in. But this only works efficiently and effectively after you've done your planning. Do you have your vision? Do you have your goal? Have you already set up your 4 hours a week where you're working in your on your business, not in your business. And then you have the time that you're actually actively working as a technician in your business. And then when new stuff comes in, that's where the Eisenhower decision matrix is going to work for you. So it's a level up. We're leveling up on your time management skills. It's not just enough to do the time management. What are your big rocks? What are, but have your calendar out, schedule things. And people are like, oh, but this gives me no freedom. I need to be free flowing. And I'm like, that's fine. But if you're going to tell me you also want to build a business and make money, you're going to need to be profitable. That is where you learn to be a tightwad when it comes to your time.